Well, we are back on the airwaves. Took a little bit of a hiatus, but we had the two championship games to stew on. We've got our Super Bowl 60 matchup coming up on the horizon this weekend. So now's the perfect time to come back, Mark, for our Super Bowl preview. But there's a million things that have been in the news cycle. We're going to try and get to most of it next week after the Super Bowl has passed. We'll do our recap, discuss the game, and then obviously we've got the offseason to cover the head coaching changes, all of that. But, one interesting thing that's come out is Sean Payton had basically said, obviously Bo Nix was out for that championship game, has come out since and talked about how, his ankle surgery and his ankle injury was more of a matter of when, not if. A lot of people are saying that's kind of a strange thing to come out with from a head coach to talk about the player and that injury in particular. It seems like they were just expecting all season that Bo Nix was going to have an ankle injury at some point. Like, I don't know. What'd you make of that whole situation?
Well, yeah, he said it like they had talked to, a woman who, you go down to New Orleans, you get your palms read. You know what I mean? You got a tarot reader. And they had said, like, Bo Nix will break his ankle at some point in time during the season, And then it's like, and then it just so happens it's like he knew. It's like, oh my God, there's only a couple plays left in the season, and it's going to happen eventually. My initial, it was funny, and I think they talked about it on part of my take, and I thought it's such a really kind of interesting thing. There was rumors that he didn't injure it on the football field, but he injured it celebrating in the locker room.
Yeah. I mean,
and then it's like, well, they just said, hey, he kind of twisted it there, maybe. But I mean, that's funny hearsay.
He definitely twisted it because you could see he was bothered a little bit, but
he had ankle injuries. Maybe Peyton is referring to the fact that, listen, the doctor might have said something to Peyton like, yeah, he has some weakness in the ankles from X, Y, and Z, because Bo Nix did have ankle problems through college.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what he was just trying to say. And maybe in Peyton's mind, I know I'm defending Sean Payton here, but it's the only thing that makes like some sense, that it's like, maybe in his mind, he was trying to defend Bo. Like, listen, don't get hard on this guy. Like, this is something that was out of his control, right? Like it was completely out of his control, right?
Something he didn't do to not take care of himself.
And if that was the end of story, I don't think it would have been a big deal. But then Bo Nix comes out and just goes, yep, I don't know why he's talking about my ankles. There's no reason for him to talk about that. That is completely false. And I'm rehabbing already. And nope, the doctor never said that. So then it leads you to believe the other scenario, right? The other fork in the road, unless Sean Payton is, situation A, trying to defend him, like I just painted. Situation B is Sean Payton's already trying to paint this, like, I don't know if Bo Nix is my guy. Like, I don't know if, I don't know if this is going to work out here because he's got ankle problems. We'll give him a chance next year to get healthy, but then we obviously can't re-sign him. We're going to have to draft someone or sign someone because, I mean, he's got these ankles.
Just an unfortunate situation.
It's unfortunate for him, and meanwhile, Bo Nix is going to be sitting there like, dude, what are you talking about?
It was a pretty poor, postseason all around. And
it makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder so much. It's one of the amount of storylines we have this offseason, the mounting notes I've been taking about stories we need to talk about. The NFL talking about every week there's an overseas game. The NFL talking about every team's playing an overseas game.
Yeah.
The NFL talking
wall-to-wall coverage on Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft.
Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, which we'll address obviously at some point this offseason. The 10 head coaches in a cycle, an insane, almost a third of the league, and just going through the guys who did get jobs and didn't get jobs, guys like Matt Nagy who just got hired. Like, there's so many things, and we haven't even hit free agency yet, which is going to jump off the page here in about a month. So there is a ton, but one of the storylines we will have to talk about, and Bo Nix is an integral part of that, is this quarterback class going into year 3. Now, obviously, we'll turn the page now to Drake May. Drake May has this incredible opportunity to cement himself as firmly one of the top maybe 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. when we do our offseason rankings, depending how this game goes, when you add it on to this heroic sophomore season he's had. And Bo Nix is going to be very much a part of that. Like, what do we do with Bo Nix? Where do you place him in the top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL? I love that. I love that. I could do a whole every week a new podcast on, okay, let's rank the quarterbacks by this. Let's rank the quarterbacks by this.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's just the juicy stuff that awaits. But obviously, first and foremost, the NFL's biggest stage. It is upon us in San Francisco, not really 45 miles south away from San Francisco, south and east away from San Francisco. Super Bowl 60. Let's go.
Yeah, super stoked. All right, back here talking Super Bowl 60. By the way, I'm in the middle of dealing with a pretty gnarly cold right now. So if I sound a little nasally and grab the tissue every now and then, you folks will know that's why. But I'll have my clicker ready on that mute button at the ready. So hopefully I'm not going to interrupt a beautiful Mark diatribe at some point in this one. Before we get into the matchup here between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots for Super Bowl 60, did want to mention real quick, we are, of course, a part of the For Frequency's Sake podcast network, and we are running a really fun Super Bowl prop. You can kind of call it like a fantasy prop sheet almost, promotion there, $10 entry, and half the proceeds are going to go to the Toys for Tots Foundation. You all know that we're a big part of that here at the For Frequency's Sake network. We do that fantasy football league to benefit the Toys for Tots every year. This is an extension of that. So $10 buy-in, you'll get to fill out an entire list of Super Bowl props. It's pretty extensive. So you'll get a point for each prop that you answer correctly. And whoever has the most points at the end will receive 50% of the pot. Or 40%, I should say. We get 10% goes to second place, and then the other half of the proceeds goes to Toys for Tots. So I really appreciate any participation on that front. Again, it's only $10. Go over to the For Frequency's Sake Facebook page. We'll promote it on our Facebook page as well at the Football Lounge, and there will be a link there to sign up and participate. But let's get into the big matchup. The Seattle Seahawks beat the LA Rams in the third matchup of the season between those two to get themselves into the dance. And we've got the New England Patriots second-year quarterback Drake May overcoming a crazy environment there in Denver in a wild game, a 13-10 win, hardly any offense, but Drake May was able to get, 65 yards rushing or so in that game. That really ended up being the difference maker. Neither quarterback played great. Of course, Jared Stidham did not, but that's really all it took for the New England Patriots to get into the game. And now we've got ourselves two defensive head coaches, two great regimes going toe-to-toe. Your initial thoughts on this matchup between the unlikely Sam Darnold taking on the young Drake May? I don't think a year ago, if we said this before the season a year ago, that Sam Darnold and Drake May were going to be in the Super Bowl in 2026, that would be nuts.
Yeah, it's a refreshing, fun year. I think it's one of those years we'll look back on. I don't know how many more times Seattle's going to get to the Super Bowl in this iteration, right? I don't know how many more times Drake May and Mike Vrabel will get to the Super Bowl in this iteration. This might be the start of a clash of titans, right? We might get like we did with Chiefs and Eagles, or like Chiefs and Niners, like this kind of reoccurring thing. I don't foresee that because I think the AFC and the NFC are both so deep right now. And so it's really fun. And I think hey, May might get back here again in 2-3 years, but I don't know if they'll be playing Seattle. Seattle might get back here next year, but I don't know if they're going to be playing Drake May. So I think it's one to really appreciate. I also love that, we have the recent I think 11 years ago. It was the Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, Patriots, Seahawks Super Bowl. So there's a little bit of that recent history, but
Sure.
not recent enough to be like bored of it. I mean, there's no players from either team, still a part of either organization at all. I think Josh
I found it really
McDaniels
funny that
might be the only person.
yeah, Josh McDaniels was a part of that team. I found it funny that Mike McDonald was constantly fielding questions. There was almost like a group of reporters that all planned to ask
Yeah,
him, "Hey, it's 4th and goal from the 2.
yeah.
What are you doing in this situation?" And he obviously played it off pretty well and just said, "I'm gonna
He's
put the
great.
best play available."
He's great.
Um, but yeah, he's been great at the mic. The head coach pairing, I think, is actually a really interesting. I don't often view Super Bowls and the head coach versus head coach side of things. It's usually quarterback versus quarterback, or I look at particular units, which of course there's plenty to discuss in this matchup as well. But I love the youthful tenacity of these two
Mhm.
head coaches, right? They're not the youngest guys, but they're young comparatively in the NFL landscape, and how they've been able to turn around programs in relative short order has been pretty inspiring. And both doing it by getting a lot out of what I would argue. I know Seattle's got some more dudes, but it dominating their side of the ball with not many names to to call out and be like, wow, this is just a star-studded group. They're both doing it with culture, with scheme, and an overall leadership, bringing together a good staff to
Yep.
implement some of their weaknesses. We see Clint Kubiak do a great job with Sam Darnold, and we're seeing, of course, Josh McDaniels, what he's been able to do with Drake May. So I really think the Mike Vrabel, Mike McDonald matchup here is really intriguing, and that's kind of what I'm most looking forward to is how these teams both approach this game and come out early. And to your point about is this going to be setting the stage for a clash of the Titans moving forward? I almost think this could also be a situation of the Rams where the Rams got to that Super Bowl early and they haven't won it, again in 4 years, but they've been around, right? They're
Mhm.
constantly hanging around. They're a really good team. I kind of think both of these teams are gonna be that perennial playoff and Super Bowl contender for years to come. And more so New England because they've got the young quarterback locked up. I don't know what's going to happen with Sam Darnold down the road, and if the wheels fall off, so be it. But yeah, no, I'm very intrigued. I don't want to get too much into the game plan just yet, but that's kind of where my head goes when it comes to the matchup overall.
Yeah, I mean, going off of what you just said with the coaches, I think if we start there, my reaction is obviously if I'm trying to say, okay, who do I think has the coaching advantage? I, to me, it has to be the Patriots, just in the sense that Vrabel played in Super Bowls as a player. Vrabel um, is a guy who was around Bill Belichick and those Patriots teams, even post his playing career. He had guys and connections to the preparation that takes. And then he's got his ace in the hole and Josh McDaniels. We haven't talked, we mentioned briefly there. He's the most experienced coach on either staff. I mean, this guy's been in how many Super Bowls, how many AFC title games, how many big games in prepping for it. The Patriots are going to know exactly what to do day and day and day. Monday, we're doing this. Tuesday, we're doing this. Now, here we are 4 days out. I fully expect the Patriots to have, maybe they're not actually better coaches, but they'll have the confidence to know, hey, this worked for us in the past. Mike as a player, Josh as a OC under other Super Bowl teams. Let's get
That's a
together
good
and
point.
maybe make a couple tweaks, but this is what we want to do. And now I'm not saying that Mike McDonald probably talked to people, talked to Pete Carroll. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure he's reached out to people or has been around, cultures. Harbaugh, his former head coach, has said like, hey,
Yeah,
what do I have to do this week? So, but just actually having been there in those moments, the amount of weight that carries I think it's significant. So I think there's a slight coaching edge, in my opinion, to the Patriots to start this game. As far as just experience goes, as far as Super Bowl big game experience, and then Mike Vrabel and McDonald, they're both defensive guys, so they kind of neutralize each other's strengths. But what we've all seen from Mike Vrabel in his tenure as a head coach, from his Tennessee Titans days to now in New England, we'll all never forget the time he outsmarted Bill Belichick and was milking time off the clock with penalties. And Belichick looked at him like, "How? Oh my God, I created a monster! Like you're doing something I would do." And he did it again. He's had moments like that this year again in New England. Vrabel, I trust right now just a little bit more. Is like, I think they are. If I had to choose between the two to start my franchise, I'm leaning Vrabel. McDonald's fantastic, but either one of them, obviously their legacy completely changes depending on what happens in this game. I'm going to give the slight coaching edge to the Patriots, though, overall.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I hadn't fully considered the overall depth of experience on that entire coaching staff. I think that's definitely something that plays a factor into it. And when I consider Vrabel and Mike McDonald, I actually think of them pretty similarly.
Yeah.
In regards. So yeah, if you're talking about, them pretty much being on equal playing field, that experience a little bit, multiple Super Bowl wins as a player, multiple Super Bowl wins as an offensive coordinator, got
It's
a
a
little
big
bit of an
game.
edge there for sure.
Different people talk about different things. Brady was on the Herd today talking about like, oh, I love time. I want 3 weeks for the Super Bowl. I want 5 weeks to prepare for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Manning is always on record being like, I would play it the next day if I could, because Manning was a little bit of an overthinker and over prepper. And when he over prepped, things got a little too tight. Matt Hasselbeck, I heard an interview him talking about him going into his Super Bowl like, oh, I have like this game plan. I'm going to do this, and he did it. And he's like, and I accomplished it. And then, because I forced one issue, even though it was working, the defense made changes, and then they made so many changes. It was like, shit, I didn't prepare for any of this.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I may have
screwed.
screwed myself because I did something that then forced too much. So when you're talking about a game of this magnitude and a game of this weight and pressure and the extra time to prepare, then the been there, done that experience. If I'm a player on New England, I'm a young player, I'm a Gonzalez, right? You know what I mean? Or I'm a Hunter Henry, finally, I've been a long time in this league and I finally get my chance in a big game. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to put 100% faith in these guys know exactly what they're talking about. If I follow them, I'm listening to them. If I'm Seattle, on the other hand, you obviously believe in your coach, you're there, but do you have the same, oomph behind
Confidence.
you? Yeah. They'd have to take the lie detector test to determine if that was truth or not. But I think there's something there to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great point. And when we look at this game, to me, the thing that jumps out is, and this is obviously something that, you could say about a lot of games, but I do think it's particularly true about Super Bowls. And this Super Bowl is, I think it's more important for Seattle to take risks and go for the big knockouts early, to not try, because what we've seen a lot in recent Super Bowls, and I was looking this up as well, that 10 of the 59 Super Bowls, oh no, I guess it's 11 of the 59 Super Bowls have ended with a 0-0 first quarter. And several others, I don't know the exact number, have ended with a 7-0. Slow starts. And we've seen that, especially in recent years, where teams are just, we're trying to like figure each other out and like not really trying to push the envelope too much. Let's just kind of work within what we're comfortable with. I think for Seattle, your one advantage here in this game is you've got the dudes that can blow big, big plays at any particular moment. New England really doesn't have the players. They don't have the Jimmies and Joes to match up with Seattle. And they are a little bit more, Seattle is a little bit more reckless of a team, but we've seen that be more beneficial to them this year than the negatives. And we saw that last year with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. His reckless behavior has been able to be harnessed to be more of a benefit than a detriment. I think they got to let it loose. I think they got to take some shots to Jackson Smith and Jigba early.
And
Let's
Shaheed.
get a 40-yard. Yeah, Shaheed for sure. Let's get a 40-yard gain right out of the gates. Take some risks. Put ourselves in a position where, yeah, Sam might make a mistake, but let's just do it. This is what's gotten us here. I think a conservative approach could get particularly Seattle in trouble earlier, because I think New England is a team that
Yeah.
could be better built to kind of chip away at an opponent over time and take more calculated risks. I just
Yeah.
want to see Seattle let it loose. Let Sam Darnold get confident. He's a guy that for everything you could say about him, he throws a pick, he throws two picks, he throws a pick six. Doesn't seem to really trouble him all that much, right? He comes back, he's got an even keel. So
Yeah.
let's just not be afraid to make that mistake early, and let's go out there and blow this thing up. They've got the better run game, they've got the studs. Go out there and do it, and then force Drake May to want to feel like, now I've got to play Superman. I've got to, drive the ball into these smaller windows or these tighter spots that we didn't necessarily plan for. I want to see that from the Seahawks.
Yeah, I find that really interesting what you said there, because there's a lot I agree with. There's some I disagree, and I'll start with what I agree is that for both teams, it's really important. Yeah, I totally agree. If some team jumps out, gets the ball first, and jumps out to a 7-0 within the first, 4-play drive, you know what I mean? And it's like, holy smokes, what was that? And you just smack them in the mouth, whether it's New England or Seattle. I think that's a huge advantage in a game like this. I agree that I think it's more important for Seattle to do that, because I think if Sam Darnold comes out in the first possession, say the Seahawks start with the ball and he throws a pick right away, first possession, it's like the whole stadium, and we all go, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, Sam is Sam again. Like this, all of a sudden the Vikings flashbacks for the Detroit game last year, and all these things, like it starts like, pew, pew, he's seeing ghosts. That was a game against New England. I know it's a different head coach, but it was New England when he was a Jet that's seeing ghosts. So that is terrifying. I think not only at one point I want to, I guess it's not disagree, I want to add on to what you said. Both defenses, I think, play their best when they are on the attack.
Yes.
I mean, you have on the back end of New England, New England's that team that you're like, I can't name 6 of the guys on that defense, but in 3 years from now, you're going to be able to name 7 or 8 of the guys on that defense. They're young. They drafted really well. Gonzalez is obviously the star, but they have guys who absolutely could go out there and make a game-wrecking play early. And if I'm Seattle and New England gets the ball first, you defer and you kick, which I think you should do. If you're Seattle, especially, like, go let that defense, like, so much energy, so much anxiety amped up. Make Drake May start with the football against your vaunted defense, right? With 80,000 people screaming and the lights and the passion, and just go like second play of the game, all out blitz, do something like that. Seattle has the guys to send a linebacker, let Leonard Williams get a one-on-one early. And if Leonard Williams just blows Sam Darnold up, you know what I mean, with a big sack, Drake May up with a big sack on that first drive. That's one of those, again, it does the opposite where you're just like, oh shit, this defense, is this like Legion of Boom? Like, holy crap. Like, I agree 100%. The team that starts with the aggressive start is going to have a huge advantage. Now, we know how football games work. That doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but it gives you a huge advantage of that early momentum. And when you're playing with the lights, the brightest in the biggest game, maybe a team that got the momentum back, like by Bears, who came back in the fourth quarter, you have no idea with the weight of the Super Bowl on the line, what that's going to do to you. And a lot of teams will fold under it. That's what made the Brady 28-3 comeback so unique and special, is how epic of a collapse it was and how epic of a comeback it was on the biggest stage. So
67% of the time in the Super Bowl history, the first scorer wins the game. So I think
that's huge.
That's huge. That's a big percentage. Yeah.
So I'll go off of that, and I'll make kind of a point that you see what you respond to. I think you had said, Seattle has the horses or something like that. And I agree. I think there's a reason Seattle's favored by 4.5 as of this morning on the sports books that I was looking at.
Are you going to say the run game because they've got such a better run game to just lean into that?
Well, I mean, listen, Charbonnet not being in the game, I think is huge. I don't think that's a small thing, but I think listen, Stevenson and the rookie from New England, Henderson, I don't think it's a giant advantage. I do think Seattle's offensive line as a unit right now is playing better football than New England's offensive line as a unit. So I give that certainly an edge to Seattle. But I just think overall, you mentioned Jackson Smith and Jigba, Shaheed. That tight end group is deep. Bobo is kind of fun, but you have 4 guys that they mix and match and all can get involved. Sam Darnold is not talked about as Drake May is with his legs, but I guarantee you Sam Darnold's going to make a play with his legs in this game. When all is out in the line and you have to give your body up, like Sam Darnold's a big, strong, physical athlete. Like I guarantee you he can make a play with his legs. And then of course, defensively, as I mentioned, the Seattle defense, these are guys in their prime playing great football versus New England, where it's like a lot of really young up-and-coming guys that you don't really know about yet, but are really good. So I do think the edge overall is to Seattle, which makes me feel very much so. This is not the NBA. It's not a 7-game series. This is not the World Series. It's not a 7-game series. If this was a 7-game series, I'd say, Seattle wins it 4-2. Seattle's going to win 4 games. They'll win 3 at home. They'll go up 2-0. New England will get really feisty and find a way to maybe go tie it 2-2. But then Seattle will kind of learn what New England has done, and their talent will take over, and they're going to win this series 4-2. Like if this was the NBA Finals or the World Series, that's what I would say, right? But obviously it's not that. And that's what makes football so awesome is that every single person has to be on their P's and Q's playing the best they can play, whether it's your kick returner not muffing a punt like the Rams. Like the Rams, like that killed them. Like it was one of them. So every single person has to do their job to the best of their ability.
Special teams has been massive all season, and in the playoffs, and Shaheed, we've seen him, blow that game wide open right off the bat.
And so the point, I guess, the long-winded point I'm trying to make is right now, I think, okay, any given Sunday, of course, New England can win this game any given Sunday. But Dan, I think something catastrophic has to happen to Seattle's offense for Seattle to lose this game. Meaning, I think it is to be a really, holy crap, Kenneth Walker never fumbles, and he fumbled, right? And then, okay, they get it back, and then Sam throws a pick, and it's like, oh, they're just kind of melting down. Or JSN, who never drops a pass, a ball gets tipped, an interception. Like, I think Seattle...
Yeah, not just one thing, but kind of a cascading or
it has to be some
moments.
Sort of... I really think right now, my gut just keeps telling me multiple things are going to, for Seattle to lose, have to go wrong for that any given Sunday. Any given Sunday for New England. Where in order for me to say like New England, like I just don't see myself saying, oh, Sam Darnold throws 3 touchdowns, 240 yards. He's, completes 60%. Walker rushes for 90 yards and a touchdown, and New England wins. And New England wins the game. I just don't see that. Is that how you're feeling about this game right now?
Yeah, I don't think New England is going to win a shootout in this game. And so Seattle, like New England wants to win their way, and their best chance to win is if this game is 24-17. Like that's their best chance to win this game because they can manage the clock a little bit better. Drake has this uncanny ability to get out of 3rd and long situations, extend the play with his legs, and keep drives moving. That's going to be crucial. But they haven't had massive, plays. They don't have the giant splash plays, especially on defense. Like their defense is really solid and really tight and really good on third down. And like that's the makings of a really overall solid unit. And they did create takeaways at a impressive rate this year, but it was kind of in like a popcorn, like splotchy moments. Seattle has been much more aggressive and more um, consistent with creating big plays on both sides of the ball. And I just think like in a game with this big, when all the chips are on the table, with everything is available to at your disposal, Seattle's got much more in their bag of tricks than what New England can do from a personnel standpoint, but also from just the makeup of that coaching staff and kind of how they operate. So look, if Ramondre Stevenson is rushing, I will say this: if Ramondre Stevenson has like 120 plus yards rushing, I think that bodes extremely well for New England, and that means that they are almost certainly in a great position to win the game because that means they're getting consistency out of that position, which we haven't seen for a good portion of the year. We've seen moments where Travion Henderson breaks a 60-yard touchdown, or Ramondre, has 60 yards on 10 carries, but we haven't seen the consistent, okay, you're getting 18 carries and you're turning that into 150 yards. Like they need a bona fide great rushing attack from this team. And that includes Drake May too. Like if Drake May can run the ball for 60 yards, if he can rattle off 3 15+ yard runs on third down, etc., then all right, then we're talking. But I agree with you. I think so much has to go wrong for Seattle because they can make up a lot of ground. They can make up a 10-point deficit. I'm not sure that New England is as primed to make up a 10-point deficit.
Yeah, I think whoever's running the ball the most, who has the most successful rushing attack, is probably in the lead. You know what I mean? Like they're a team that
over the course of the game,
you're up, 14-3. So let's pound the rock, right? You know what I mean? And then let's just keep running the ball.
Yeah.
Because the team that's down is going to panic, right? Like it's just that's the nature of the modern day NFL. It's hard to consistently run the football. Coaches get away from running the football. The easy way to run the football is when you're like, well, we need to start milking some clock and keep the ball in our hands and not let the other team get the ball and make them desperate. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback set. Who do you think has the quarterback edge? Are you giving the edge to Drake May or to Sam Darnold?
I'm giving just at the position. I'm giving Drake May the advantage. Much better rusher, much better creator, and overall, just a better thrower of the football. He's a better quarterback. If you were to say like who you're taking as your quarterback this year, I'm taking him ahead of Sam Darnold every time.
See, I'm going to make the argument that it's way closer than you think. And I think
just an experience thing.
I think that's part of it, right? Like 8 years of experience, and Sam Darnold literally was in the trash. Remember, he had the chance to start in Carolina, and he went 4-2 after Baker started. And you're like, go to Sam. He went 4-2, and what did he do right after that? He went to San Francisco. He chose to be a backup quarterback. He chose to go to Kyle Shanahan and be a backup quarterback. And Dan, do you know what happened in the one season he was the backup for Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan?
Who was the backup for Brock Purdy?
Do you know what happened that season as he backed up Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan with 49ers?
No, I can't. Brock Purdy didn't miss a game?
They went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he actually has experience. Like he has been through this 3 years ago. He went through, what does the week look like? What is the preparation like? What is the meet like? What now? He wasn't getting asked all the questions, right? But he saw it all. He was with the team. He experienced all of that, right? Like he went step by step by step. I also think it's weird, but it's like he knows Levi Stadium, right? Like, and I believe Seattle's the home team in the game, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think it's
New
England because I remember seeing Mike Vrabel talk about how they got to choose their uniforms and they chose to wear their white uniforms because the players like them better.
Gotcha. So, but like, I mean, like he's played in that stadium more. He's been in that stadium. So again, look, I'm grasping at some straws here, but I do think him he was going through a Super Bowl 3 years ago when Drake May was at North Carolina and we were debating whether he's going to be a first rounder or not.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to that. I really do. I don't love that my offensive coordinator, if I'm the Seahawks, is getting ready to leave us for a job. Like, I don't love that. I always question the preparation and the focus, right? And the guys just kind of knowing this looming, like, well, he's not going to be here next year. You know what I mean? Like, there's this there. I think there's
or just taking virtual interviews, like they're taking time away from the prep, regardless of how long it is.
And
right?
I know they always like, well, we do it not on team time or whatever it is, but you know how football coaches are. These guys are insane. But I think Sam Darnold. Listen, I think Sam Darnold is, if I'm ranking the quarterbacks going into next year, whatever I'm putting Darnold and May, they are very close to each other. If I'm putting one ahead of the other, it might be May based on just quarterbacking potential. But Sam Darnold it would probably be the next person on that list or very close to it. He's big, he's strong, he's physical, he can make all the throws. He's not as accurate, no. And he's not as much of a runner, but we've already seen from Drake May.
JSN.
He is JSN. He's got the number one guy. And he's used to dealing with the number one guy. He had he had.
If I'm talking about unit versus unit, I'm taking Seattle's offense all day.
I would agree. And I think, but I think Sam Darnold, I mean, he's dealing with the oblique injury, but Drake May's dealing with a shoulder injury. And again, it's funny because Drake May's a big, strong guy, but he's running a ton and he's not Josh Allen physical. You know what I mean? Like when you look at him, you're like, he's not as like freakishly athletic as like a Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. You're like, that guy just takes hits, or a Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Sure.
He's already dealing with the shoulder injury. I think that's something. But I don't think I don't think it's as far as a gap as you might just initially go, oh, Drake May's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. And I do think the experience for Darnold is going to play a huge, huge factor. Cole
agrees with you, just a slight edge.
It's close. It's close. When I heard that Sam Darnold was the backup quarterback for Purdy in that Super Bowl, I was like, oh shit! Like he went through it.
It's not nothing. I mean,
he knows what this week is like. He knows what that game is like. He knows the feeling. And also I think Sam Darnold is playing with what's the worst they can do to me? Like they can't do anything more to me. They threw me away. I was a joke. I was a laughing stock. I was the mono guy. And like that's dangerous when you have a guy who's playing with that kind of like, you can't kill me. I'm dead. I'm already dead, right? And I've come back. I also
think there's something to say about the path to get here as well. I mean, they had to slug it out against the Rams and
crap out of the Niners.
And just absolutely slaughtered the Niners. And yeah, they won, but the Patriots 13 points against the Broncos they beat Jarrett Stidham by 3 points last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, there is something like, all right, that wasn't, I know the weather was insane, but that wasn't the most inspiring.
Well, a lot of people
found a way to win and that's great.
Yeah.
But
they say, hey, well, New England is battle tested against good defense Denver, great defense Houston, good defense Chargers.
Yeah,
now they're going up against another great defense.
But they also played the easiest schedule all year. And
but also, what during that run of facing those elite defenses were you like, whoa, shit, they're kicking the crap out of these elite defenses?
Right?
No,
exactly. Yeah.
They survived.
Defenses too had to play in. Like everybody was playing in the snow. Like that was not good for anybody. And so it's like, if that was on neutral territory, they may have been able to tee off on Drake May a little bit more. You know, I don't think he rushes for 65 yards in that situation.
Well, and listen, they weren't great in the first half, but credit, they won the game on the road.
Yeah, they won the game.
He made credit. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's something to that, but there's also something to the fact that the offense didn't give me a lot to feel great about, that they were lighting up these great defenses. I'm really worried about the offensive line for New England.
Yeah.
Will Campbell has had a rough postseason.
Seattle's one of the best pressure units with just 4. Yeah. Like, they don't even need
I
to
mean,
blitz to
Leonard.
create pressure. They're creating I think it's like 4th best in the league just with their first front four. So, if they do decide to blitz, as you were talking about earlier, and
Yeah.
throw him off the scent a little bit, Drake May could be under pressure and under duress really early. That's why I think them getting out in front even more important. Put Drake May in these drop back situations early in the game. That could be a big problem for New England.
So the Super Bowl MVP favorite is Sam Darnold plus 115.
Yeah.
Drake May is second at plus 250.
My pick, just not even my pick to bet. My pick overall would not be a quarterback. I would pick JSN to win the
And
MVP.
he's third at
There you go.
plus
Yeah.
550. You know who I'm looking for? I'm looking for Leonard Williams plus 10,000.
Okay, nice. Yeah, if he
I
gets like
really
3
think,
sacks and a strip sack type of
again,
situation.
I think it's just one of those games where it's going to be an unconventional. You know what I mean? I don't know if
Or what if Shaheed?
it's Shaheed is on that list too. He's got good odds. I think. But again, I just go back to the fact that that this is again, if it's the World Series, it's 4-2 Seattle. It's seven. If it's the NBA Finals, it's 4-3. Maybe they win. Maybe they keep it close, but they win it. They win it 4-2, and it's over in 6 games. You know what I mean? Doesn't go to Game 7. But it's not that. It's not that. So I'm not counting out New England at all. I'm not. And if the number gets to like 5.5, I might take New England plus 5.5. I like Seattle at the minus 4.5 right now because
I think so too.
My gut's telling me that it's Seattle could maybe kick a field goal late or something to help cover that, and they keep themselves separated, or a safety in the game somewhere to that puts it all over the top. But I'm definitely. I don't expect to blow it either way. I fully expect this to be a very good, very physical, entertaining game. But right now, I like Seattle. I can't convince myself otherwise.
Yeah, no, same here. Before we give our predictions of the score and then look at a couple fun props before we close out the show, is there one particular key for each team that you think they need to focus on this aspect to win the game? So we could talk about your thoughts on what New England needs to prioritize number one, what Seattle needs to prioritize as number one.
Seattle cannot let Drake May rush for more than like 20, 25 yards. Like you've got to keep Drake May in the pocket. You got to keep pressuring him. You cannot give up easy first downs and demoralizing first downs to Drake May. Just like, and there he goes, squirts for 10 yards, scrambles for 8, picks up the first down. If that keeps happening, that gives so much confidence to the young quarterback, and that demoralizes the defense. There's nothing worse for a defense. You see it in defenders' faces when a quarterback scrambles for a first down, and they know that's their chance they could hit him. The quarterback's in the open field. You can't touch him. He's in the pocket. Like, go lay him out. And it's like, and then he slides and picks up the first down. Or, he darts out of bounds and picks up the first down. It's demoralizing. It really is. And I think in a game like this, where I do expect it to be close, and again, any team can win. If you're Seattle, I'd be preaching to my guys, like, bring him to the ground. Do not let him get easy run lanes. Do not let him scramble and pick up first downs. Make him beat us over the top, because I think the back end of the defense for Seattle can hold up. I do expect Diggs to have a good day. I think Diggs is one of those players, like, I don't like him as a guy. I think there's a lot of like things, about Diggs that you hear, but hell, the dude's been in the league a long time and he's come so close multiple times. You're kind of like, good for you, dude. Like, there's that iconic photo of him with the confetti falling down when they lost, when he was on the Bills. And you're like, he's getting his chance. I think Diggs is going to perform, right? So that'd be my one key for Seattle. Overall, the biggest key, I think, is just contain Drake May's rushing. That's point. For New England, I think I think if I'm going to say there's one thing to focus on, there's like, how do I distill this to one distinct point? Okay. Turnovers. It's just turnovers. Like if you win the turnover game, that's your best chance to win this football game. Because, like I said, I think in order for Seattle to lose, it has to be this kind of waterfall falling
Yeah.
apart.
We
So
have the same
the
one.
best way
I think it needs to be multiple. New England needs to force multiple turnover.
like a 2-0 turnover
Yeah.
differential, like
3-1,
they win the
2-0, you
battle
gotta win the turnover battle by 2.
by +2.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and on Seattle's side, I think the number one thing I would focus on is holding New England as a team to under 100 yards rushing. I think if they can do that, that means that they've been
That
able.
includes Drake May.
Was yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately means that they have forced Drake May into a um, consistent passing down one dimensional situation. And with that front four of Seattle, I think then they can pin their ears back easily and probably get away with this one earlier than expected. So that would be my big one there. Score prediction. What are you thinking on this one? I am going 33-24 Seattle, which is it's a pretty big discrepancy, but I think they've just got too many playmakers, and I think they won't turn the ball over 3 times.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going that high.
It is
In
a
my
lot of
head, I was
points, and
thinking
that's a good New England defense. That's tough.
yeah, in my head, I was thinking something along the lines of like 27-20. It's 27, 21.
Yeah.
Like it's close. It's close, but maybe New England scores that last touchdown in the fourth with a couple of minutes to go to then get it to 21. It's like, oh, now maybe do we have a game? And then Seattle kicks a field goal or something, to go up 27-20,
Yeah, and then it's
and it's something along those lines. But I'm with you. I wouldn't shock me if it gets that high. Um, I think, and I think if New England wins the game, the score is uh something along the lines of like it's lower scoring. It's like like 20-23 to 17, and it's just Seattle fumbles, like they just bumble their way on offense. They can't get anything going. They make too many mistakes, and New England is able to capitalize on those mistakes.
so we both have Seattle winning. Who's your MVP then?
I want to go. I want to go. I think I'm going to bet someone like a Leonard Williams.
Okay.
Like I think it's a
Yeah,
defensive. I think
that'd be cool.
someone on defense makes a great play, right? Someone on defense makes. Leonard Williams has 2 sacks, and one of them is a strip sack fumble for a touchdown. And then Seattle's offense spreads it around enough to where it's like, oh, well, yeah, JSN had a touchdown and 80 yards, but Sam Darnold had 2 touchdowns, but he did throw a pick. Like, you know what I mean? Where it's like Leonard Williams was the star of the game. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
Someone like that on defense. So I'll go kind of counter that.
I dig that. I'm gonna go JSN wins it. I think he'll catch 2 touchdown passes in this one. And Cole has the Seahawks winning
Oh,
27-17.
I like that call.
Here's a couple fun prop bets. Will there be a 2-point conversion attempted in this game? That is currently at -175.
I wouldn't take that. The odds aren't juicy enough. I think there will be a 2-point conversion.
I think so too.
Teams go for 2 so much more now. Can I have a couple of can I read one here for you now? So this is Super Bowl records. You can bet on like will a record be broken?
Okay. Interesting.
So will any player record the record is 205. So 205 plus rushing yards in the Super Bowl.
No. That will not be broken.
Yeah. What about this one would be fun if you believe in JSN. This one could be really fun.
By the way, did it say?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It's just it's on. But you could look it up. I mean, maybe
like Marcus Allen or something like that.
I know. You're right. You're right. Any player to record 216 plus receiving yards, you get plus 3,000.
Whew. I mean,
216 is a lot, but
that is a lot. I mean, JSN. If there's anyone that could do it, it would be him. But he'll probably draw a lot of Christian Gonzalez, so I don't think he's going to get that high. Gonzalez is really good.
Well, Gonzalez, I've been seeing a lot of stuff that Gonzalez doesn't follow guys. He stays to his side of the field a lot.
That's true.
but we'll see.
Timmy
And then
Smith. Timmy Smith rushed for 204 yards in Super Bowl 22 for Washington against Denver. Timmy Smith.
fucking Timmy Smith. Dude.
Marcus
Good
Allen
for
was
him,
second
dude.
with 191.
And then the other one is the other like crazy ones are like any player to record the record for passing yards plus 506. 506 plus. Don't see that. And then not with these defenses. And then 7+ passing touchdowns.
Wait, who?
But here's
because Steve Young had 6 in the Super Bowl against the Chargers.
Yeah, so 7 would be the record.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was like, who threw 7? Okay,
or
yeah,
more.
I got you.
So then here's the one I am betting. It's a Super Bowl record, and I think it's a fun one, and I'm getting plus 5,000 odds on it. This is on where am I at? I'm on the Score Stream, the former ESPN bet.
Okay.
Plus 5,000 recorded Super Bowl record for sacks in a game, 3.5 sacks.
Wow.
So there's my Leonard Williams. I'm gonna double down that record and him Super Bowl MVP.
Who's your guess for who set 3.5's the number? So someone has done 3.5 or someone's done 3?
It's 3 plus 3.5 plus. So someone has 3.5.
So
or someone has 3. Has 3.
Who do you think has done that?
Did Von Miller have 3 sacks in that Super Bowl win?
He might have. I guess it was going to be Bruce Smith in one of the Bills. Let's see. All right.
That's a good guess.
Oh, I should have known this. Wait, what? This
Pittsburgh Steelers own.
This says 4. So I wonder if that's this was pre I think 82 is when they started
recording sacks.
Yeah, so this was 4 by LC Greenwood of the Steelers in 76. 3 sacks. Okay, Grady Jarrett. It's actually been done multiple times.
Grady Jarrett, Chicago Bear, great
Super Bowl. Coney Ely in the Panthers of the Panthers in Super Bowl 50.
Coney Ely, yeah, I think he went to Oregon.
Yeah, you might be right. I honestly don't know. Darnell Dockett in that Cardinals Steelers Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
I forgot that he had
Dockett.
3 sacks. Reggie White. And then Willie Davis of the Packers in Super Bowl 2. So,
that's cool.
So yeah, so the unofficial record goes to LC Greenwood, but yeah, the official sacks record goes to Grady Jarrett. Which that was he wreaked havoc.
There's a lot of fun.
Super Bowl.
I would say the last thing I wanted to pick your brain about here before we my last sticking point was I always like to ask this question when we get to Super Bowl. I'm sure, if you've been listening to the show forever, you know that I love to talk about this. As far as legacy goes, who gains the most, right? I think it's an easier Super Bowl to do that with if it's like Matt Stafford's in the Super Bowl, right? It's like, going from 1 to 2 is insane, right? Or if it was Aaron Rodgers again with the Steelers, but these guys are so young. Everyone's kind of so new. I think it's hard to make a case that it matters way more for one person than the other. But I have a name in mind, but I want to hear if you have a name in mind first for 2. At coaches, players, legacy, who gets a ring, you're like, wow, that changes it for me.
I mean, I would almost say Josh McDaniels because this guy has now taken a young Drake May and shown that his offense is one that he can carry a young player not named Tom Brady to those heights with a brand new staff and a brand new regime as well. That would be my initial reaction.
So I would agree. I think that my number one would be Josh McDaniels because, again, he has the rings with Bill and Tom. But for him to then have another one and against this defense with a second-year quarterback and Vrabel, then you say to yourself, like, this guy might be starting to be talked about as, like, one of the greatest offensive coordinators of all time. Like,
for sure.
You have to start, like, saying to yourself, like, who gets a lot of weight? He's not a head coach. It's just not his thing. He's struggled as a head coach.
Greatest coordinator.
But he might be one of the greatest coordinators of all time. I would say a really close second. And let me hear me out with this one. I think it's more important. It'd be more impactful, more legacy defining for Sam Darnold than Drake May. Now, I know you could argue, well, Drake May getting one this early sets him on the path, and that is huge, right? That is huge.
Well, and we've seen all the stats of the great quarterback head coach pairings get to and win the Super Bowl within their first 5 years together, and then they usually don't beyond that.
Yeah. So that's huge. And I understand that. That's really important. So I get Patriots fans or whatever you're going to say, you can make the case for that. But if Sam Darnold plays well and he is the Super Bowl winning quarterback and he plays well, like Sam Darnold was great. Maybe he doesn't have to win Super Bowl MVP, but he didn't crap the bed. He won the game. 2 touchdown passes, 200 yards, managed the game, and Seattle's defense helped carry them. And Sam Darnold was great. You officially you can no longer question that Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, you know what I mean? Sam Darnold, this
would be him officially getting over the hump.
It's over. He is now an established, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's now top 3 quarterback, but he is established. There's no questioning Darnold anymore, at least for the next 2 years, 3 years. Now, if all of a sudden he falls off a cliff and he's crap, okay, well, that's like how we go with Russell Wilson, right? Russell Wilson, in my opinion, is not a Hall of Famer because of how the second half of his career is just completely fallen apart, and his first half numbers aren't great enough, in my opinion, to get him to the Hall of Fame. For Sam, obviously, it points the arrow towards that direction of Hall of Fame, but also just puts him on the right path of I have to talk about Sam in the same way I talk about, Jalen Hurts played really great in a big game. He's great. He was great. He has his moment. He's got his thing. And you can't just be Sam's the 10th, 12th best quarterback, whatever. He's, Sam Darnold, whatever. He'll stink, he'll throw a bunch of picks and stink, seeing ghosts. So I think that really helps him eliminate and shed so much of the negativity that started his career with. And he's only 27 years old. And he's on a very team-friendly deal. And I think Sam is smart enough to realize, and he's been through so much, and he's also making $30 million a year. It's not like he's making nothing that oh, no. I'll resign right now for another 4 years at $30 million a year. Let's keep this train rolling. You know what I mean? I don't need a $200 million guaranteed contract just because I won the Super Bowl. I like winning Super Bowls. This is the legacy. Sure. You know what I mean? So it's exciting.
I agree. There's a lot more riding on Sam Darnold for this to get this win, and might be more difficult for them to get back to this spot too. So there's a
the NFC is so tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 10. Speaking of the coaches, we'll talk about it coming up, but 7 of the 10 coaching changes were AFC teams.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were good teams. Ravens, Pittsburgh, Bills. I mean, nothing burger teams.
Yeah.
Obviously had the Browns in there too, but there's a little bit of a window, it feels like, in the AFC. Mahomes won't be healthy next year 100%. New coaches in new places. The Patriots certainly are here earlier than expected. Wouldn't shock me if the Patriots are back here again next year. It might shock me a little bit more if Seattle's back here, not because, and again, I think Seattle's the better team. They're going to win the game, but the NFC, it just feels like it is North and the West. And now the East is getting way better when you add Harbaugh and you still have Philly and you add Stefanski to the South. It just feels like the NFC arrow is so high and so up.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I can't wait. I love the Super Bowl. No matter who's playing, it's just so great.
Always a great time. Hope everyone's got some spreads ready to go.
Send us your bets. Send us your bets.
Yes, please do. Please do. And obviously let us know who you got in the Super Bowl. Of course, Mark and I are taking Seattle. We'll see if that comes to fruition. We'll be back on the airwaves next week to discuss it all as a send-off. Once again, reminder, please go check out For Frequency's Sake Facebook page. Go sign up for those prop bets and put it towards a good cause all the while. So we'll see you back here next week to talk Super Bowl. And what was that? Sorry, I missed you.
Yeah, win a little money. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
of
cause and win
course.
a little money.
Yes. Yeah, I got to partake a little bit. So, a good opportunity there. We'll be back to talk the big game. And then we've got obviously a lot to talk about. My Pittsburgh Steelers have a new head coach. We've got 9 other coaching vacancies to discuss as well. We'll get to that and more coming up in the offseason. But we got one more football game to get to before a long offseason ahead. Stay tuned.